Well, welcome to News Game Plus, first one of the year. I can't count. So I forgot how to count. 2020 was so traumatizing. I totally lost the ability to count.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So yeah, anyway, I'm Dermie and I'm here.
I was like, you have a job as an American elector. Stop the steal.
Stop the steal. Yes, well, I see we got back onto it. We're trying to get
out
of the way.
It was a good joke. I couldn't help myself.
Not bad. All right, let's gaming news. First, I wanted to get back to starting with what are you playing at the moment?
Still, so I've been playing because I've been chilling out, right? So I've only just got my first wave of review code. So I've got the medium and I've got Hitman 3, right? So I've just started doing those. But because before that I was just chilling for whatever, all I've been playing is the stupid hunter game that comes with Xbox Game Pass. And
it's a hunter game.
So you literally just go around and hunt deer and boar.
Oh, like Cabela's Big Game Hunter.
Yeah, similar. Okay, and so that's all I've been doing because it's great to just chill too. Because you just you're in nature and there's rain going and stuff, and I just have a stream on in the background, and then I hear footsteps, so I put my headphones on properly, and I'm like, all right, they're over to the right. You have to sneak over and. And it teaches you where to hit them so that they drop, because otherwise you have to run for 6 kilometers. If you miss them, you got to run for 6 kilometers, and no one wants to run through the jungle. No one
wants to run anyway.
Yeah. And so it's whereas if you hit them dead on, get them in the heart or whatever, they just drop. They just drop like a sack. And so it's so for me, it's okay, I just appreciate on that. It's lots of nothing and then something, and it's I don't know, for the where my mind's been lately, that's been just great fodder to distract myself with. Anyway.
I got a HDMI adapter for my Dreamcast.
I did see that, yeah.
And I'd forgotten how good Daytona 2001 was.
Yeah.
The one they made for the Daytona they made for the Dreamcast, which has about 6 or 7 tracks. I didn't play the other ones, more tracks than that. It is a superb Daytona game. But also, you talked about the hunting. It reminded me. I've been playing Sega Bass Fishing.
Yeah,
because I got the fishing rod controller.
See, I love that game. I say to anyone, that to me, if they made another one with that peripheral again to modern thing, I don't like fishing. I hate it. As much as I like the cold, I hate the murkiness of thing. Fish freak me out. I'm too lazy to scale them and bone them properly. Do you know what I mean?
So for me, it's too easy to play though.
That's what I'm saying.
It's for ages.
Oh, that's a big one. Time bonus. I know it in my head. I hear it. Do you know what I mean?
You normally hear that on websites, but on the fishing game, you can just play Sega Bass Fishing with the fishing rod controller. Just move the rod left, move the rod right. Now you can just, I don't know, for some reason I played it. I almost wasn't enjoying it because I was just trying to play and see how it goes. But I couldn't stop. Yeah. I was trying to get a big fish.
Yeah.
It's
that music when you do pull it, dun 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 dun, and it's oh, that's a big one. Yeah,
I haven't heard it much, so I can't remember it.
But, look, like I said, I can hear the music, mate. I can hear the Sega enhancer.
That's a little one. They go, not
easy. Yeah,
it's I hate when people say that.
Yeah, time boulders. Yeah. No, but I can hear Sega announcer voice in my head at any given point in time. Easy right, maybe. It's the same guy. Overjump.
Well, that's the only bad thing about this. The Dreamcast has Sega Rally 2.
Yes.
But for some reason, Sega doesn't like putting the old Sega Rally tracks in newer Sega Rallies.
Yeah.
I don't know why. They should do like Mario Kart. Yeah, Mario Kart. You go back and play almost any track ever made. I think it's all of them in it.
Well, the new one, again, I say to everyone, is Mario Kart, if you want to take it seriously, it's still a great game, but it's also, it does such a good job of bridging all those classic levels and the new ones, and then still being its own. 200cc is legitimately difficult. I don't know. It's an actual racing game at that point. So
yeah. I do struggle, but I'm not good at it. so actually, my daughter's really good at it. Yeah, Prius, yeah.
Maybe if there was little blue things that you could charge your Prius up of if you tapped them.
I saw somebody with a blue shell is one of those things that hangs from the mirror. I thought that was pretty cool.
I got a Boss one there, Boss Coffee one there. I'm going to put up for next thing.
Talking coffee, big hello to Luke Green. Look at all that. I've been playing games on my Dreamcast through my HDMI cable, and it is really cool.
Is there any delay? Because that was always my.
Look. I'm not, I'm not like an elite gamer. Like that,
what,
right?
really? That's new.
But see, the thing is, I only go by what I remember. So I played Crazy Taxi and stuff, and it all just felt like normal. So it felt. Gotcha. I wasn't getting frustrated. In playing Daytona, I wasn't getting frustrated, thinking, something's not changing. I think the HDMI, it was only $20 or $30.
Yeah, right.
I can't remember. It was really pretty good. It plays only games though that are VGA enabled on the Dreamcast, which means I still can't play Skies of Arcadia
because that was only
and why the hell that's never got re-released anywhere? I don't know. What the hell? Sega?
Well, I was having that conversation with Luke about he just got a PS3, so he's got Tokyo Jungle and stuff now, and I was like,
I saw him post that. Yeah,
such a good game, and I'm like,
you mean said Luke? So we have to put that up. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm just like, I forgot, like, and because he's like making jokes about it. He's like, yeah, I see why you go on about it now. I'm like, yeah, and it'll never get a re-release because Sony's an American company now. So,
yeah, it should. I remember playing that on stream with Oz. It was pretty good. And Seth just call us Normie Gamer, or me probably Normie Gamer.
Not me.
But it's popped up underneath the chat. C translation. What's the translation for Normie Gamer? Says Jared. Polish.
It's the original Polish.
It thinks it's Polish.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, cool. All right, so Normie Gamer apparently Seffi is Polish. A big hello to Tom and Seffi in the chat at the moment. Everyone else join in to come and make a comment. All right, cool. Let's get on to the gaming because we finally have new news. We're not going to go back off old stuff today. First one, there's a new Resident Evil game coming.
Lots of details came out.
And everyone's excited.
The internet's excited. You're on that particular
probably
corner
excited
of the
for
internet.
the wrong reasons.
Everyone's got their reasons. It's just different reasons for everyone.
Not really my thing. Not really. I never liked Resident Evil. I played it on stream with Oz. The scariest part of the Resident Evils we played on All Game Plus was the controls.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's like driving a tank.
Well, it was the tank controls. That's what I used to call it. So
horrible.
it was funny because I think the last one that was tank controls, which was stop pivot kind of controls, was 4, I want to say, and then 5 onwards, it's been more of a straightforward, like first person.
If I got like a dog attacking me from behind, I'm not going. Oh,
there's a button. There was a button to pivot around.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, I
hate. It didn't work for me anyway. But a lot of people are very excited about Resident Evil Village. I can see this is going to have a lot of.
Rule 34.
Dodgy adaptations.
Yeah. Every time you click on some dodgy link, some dodgy Russian link, it's going to be big naked, pale vampire lady.
Yeah, no, there's definitely they've nailed there. If they were after that market,
I mean, the thing with Village is it's technically 8. So Village is set in, I think
it's a
Europe.
sequel to the 7, isn't it?
Yes, but it also ties to 4. I think because
you're going to lose me now?
Yeah. So it's 7 in that it's first person. And then I think the universe ties it to 4 is how it works. So just for 4 reference. Super keen, very excited. Should be good. I honestly didn't play 7. I should at some point, but I've never liked that style of horror game. Do you know what I mean? Like it's never been my.
Really, I'm surprised.
Never been my jam.
Normally tend to like the more gory.
Yeah, but those jumpy Eddie ones have never been my jam.
Okay.
Like I played Resis, like all the Resis before that.
Yeah.
I liked 6. I'm about one of the 4 people on the planet who liked 6. But yeah, I definitely. There probably will be VR for RE8. I can't see why they wouldn't. It's just such a free hit. But yeah,
there's VR. There's
VR 7.
Five Nights at Freddy's is on Oculus.
Have you seen that movie, Willy's Wonderland, with what's his name?
No,
Nick
it's
Cage?
an adaptation of another movie.
No. That's
Flesh Gordon.
It's like which Animal Farm do you mean?
Shaving Ryan's privates.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
No, it's Five Nights at Freddy's with Nicolas Cage as the person staying behind overnight.
No.
And I'll show you the trailer afterwards.
Actually, message it to me because is it legit? Is it something?
Yeah, it's coming out in like 3 months.
All right, I know. Look, I know someone who's right into Five Nights at Freddy's. I'll show it to you. But just warn me if it's not something that she'd appreciate.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. So Resident Evil Village, not really my cup of tea, but I can see where it's going to go, and I can see there's going to be a predictable backlash in Kotaku and Polygon and that about look what the internet's doing about this game, and we get ready for a whole heap of bullshit.
You got to remember the last backlash that Resi got that was a real bad one in a big way was why are all the zombies in Africa black? And so they had to include the white zombies. So I don't know if you remember that for 5. So suddenly they had Eminem zombies show up. So most of them African villages, and then just randomly Eminem zombie would show up.
But that's like when they said, why aren't there any black people in The Witcher, right?
Yeah.
And The Witcher's Polish.
Yeah.
Poland's pretty white.
Yeah.
Africa, okay, I don't want to sound wrong, but Africa's...
Yeah. And it wasn't South Africa or something
dark
like that.
skin.
Yeah.
So,
and that was the point. It was in some
something?
tucked away village of Africa because they found this parasite and they were going to anyway. Moral story is that was the last time Kotaku fired up about it. Like it was funny because someone was having a go at the Australian.
That's manufacturing bullshit.
Someone the other day was having a go at the Australian for saying, the outrage on Twitter about Dan Andrews is huge. It was 3 tweets, and I said that's something the gaming gave the world. That's something the gaming press gave the world. The outrage on Twitter, and it's like 3 egg accounts. It's like who gives a fucking shit?
Well, even if it's not, even if it's 3 legit retards on. I'm not going to say that.
No, you're not.
Let's scratch that. Rewind. Even if it's 3 dickheads, am I say dickheads?
Yeah, you can dickheads.
Even if it's 3 dickheads.
Bronx is a good one.
Bronx, whatever. Even if it's 3 dickheads on Twitter, right? And they're legit, and they're genuinely concerned about this stuff, right? We have to stop caring. Yeah. We have to go, oh look, there's out of 6 billion people or 7 billion people in the world, there's a handful of them on Twitter who are upset. You know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Because you know what? There's going to be a handful of dickheads upset about something. So you know what? How about we just not give them any time? Not
oxygen. That's where you could differentiate it from, say, someone like a Margaret Court or something, where they have a level.
How long did we last?
They got a level in the discourse. Do you know what I mean? Like they've got a level in the public zeitgeist in the discourse, which is different from random egg accounts on Twitter.
I also think generally everybody needs to stop expecting celebrities and famous people and actors and singers and that to have the same views as them.
Or just to be good people,
you know
I
what,
guess,
they may be dickheads, and you know what, their skill, it was always my problem with sportsmen, right? Sportsmen, they'll go, they're role models. You know what, I get little kids think they're role models and that, but the fact is, they're getting paid to lift weights and run around, right? They weren't being paid. You
don't ask Wayne Carey for dating advice,
No, well, I was going to say science, but it's the same thing to him. To him, it might as well be like rocket science as well. How should I treat this woman? It's the same thing as trying to work out surgery.
Glass or no glass,
So, but see, the thing is, we need to stop caring. And also that means not allowing somebody that platform if they are famous for one thing, giving them a platform.
Yeah, and that's more the argument, I would say.
If she wants to talk, if Margaret Court wants to talk about tennis, right? She can talk all day about tennis because that's what she was
for sure.
Good at. But it goes for everybody. It goes for actors and everything, right? There's too many actors on Twitter that are going to give you all their political views. Right? You know what? You're an actor. Like I don't want your political views. I don't want to hear politicians say theirs either. But I think we need to not expect people to, and then not get upset. So it turns out this person's a dickhead. Well, really? So anyway, next gaming thing. Free to play games on Xbox like Fortnite, which you shouldn't be playing.
100%
Stop playing.
Fortnite,
you're not going to need Xbox Gold. I'm against that. Because they're making it easier to play Fortnite. They've got to make it harder to play Fortnite. I think Fortnite should have like a fine, a penalty. And so if you want to play Fortnite...
Have you seen the latest collab with Predator? Is the latest...
I was going to write that down, but one Fortnite story per year is enough for me. It's a shit game. Stop playing it. I think what they should do is they should charge extra for if you want to play Fortnite, you have to pay an extra $100 a month on the Xbox Live Gold subscription because you're an idiot and you don't like good games. Right? So they should confiscate your Xbox and give you a good game like Division or something.
It is interesting with the free-to-play one because that was probably one of the last things. Because does Sony still charge you to play free-to-play, I think? Oh, no, they don't. I don't think they do. But that was probably the one thing that used to... Because people play like Ark servers and Rust and all those kind of games and like... You know, so I can definitely understand the point behind it, but I still think that there's not long left for gold. Gold will not be a thing coming up very soon.
I'm just sad that the word was gold and not Fortnite. Still here. All right, cool. Vicarious Visions. This is your area. You always know more about these industry things than I do. Vicarious Visions, who made Tony Hawk 1 and 2, I think the remakes.
And 3. And they did the one on Game Boy. They did a bunch of great little games.
Crash Bandicoot, the recent Crash remasters. Yeah. They have been merged into Blizzard, which what I thought was weird.
Death there.
Well, Blizzard already owned them. So Blizzard bought them in 2005, right? Yeah. So what? This is what I wasn't sure. What does merging them into Blizzard actually do?
Means that so usually when it's that kind of kept studio thing. So like say the Fire Monkeys in EA, right? So for example, they've got that was Iron Monkeys and Fire. What was the other one called?
Dragons.
Doesn't matter.
Ants.
Whatever. I can't remember the name, but that's how bad my history is.
Stories.
Anyway, so you combine them, but basically then you give them projects that are theirs, and they stick with them, and that's their project.
Is that like first party versus second party dev?
Ish. Yeah, exactly that. So it was like, Nintendo's a good example.
RIP Vicarious Visions.
Pretty much. And that's my thought process.
Sorry to hear about that, guys.
Yeah, whereas like Fire Monkeys, I mean...
You're doing good.
All their HR infrastructure, all their policies, all that stuff is still EA, but they were in charge of certain games. So they had Real Racing, which was their game. Fire. Oh my god. Is it Fire Ant? No, wasn't it? That's a thing. That's a real thing. Anyway, moral story is, because they made Real Racing, they made Flight Control.
Put him out of his misery.
Yeah,
tell
they
us
made
in chat someone.
Flight Control, they made...
Flight Control's disappeared. You can't get it
anymore. And then someone made a rip-off version on Switch, and they're making heaps out of it.
Are they? I don't want to Switch. Yeah, because I remember playing that when I first got a touch phone. And it was good fun. You Google it now. You're going mad, aren't you?
Yeah. That's giving you bad things.
Yeah, anyway.
Firemint. That was it. It was Firemint.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, and so the thing was, they're still technically EA for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
But they get their projects that they keep, and they made Real Racing, so they did Real Racing as long as they also did Need for Speed, and as long as they also did Sims. Like most of EA's stuff in local thing is Sims and Sims Mobile.
Okay.
So basically by absorbing it into Blizzard, they're scuttling those individual projects, so it's unlikely that they will be doing Tony Hawk Pro Skater or anything like that anymore. Because you keep in mind the devs for...
So basically just...
So
they're effectively closing down? For if other words say close down?
So Sledgehammer Games is one that does Call of Duty, but it's...
the mobile version call.
So they worked on Visceral Games. So Visceral Games is another example, right? So Visceral Games used to be owned by EA.
Yeah.
And then Dead Space had some problems, so they just sucked it in. The company is an independent and wholly owned subsidiary of Activision. So it's like, so basically, it exists, but it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? So it's like...
Schrodinger's...
Yeah, they work on their thing, but then usually what you can do is, like, let's say you've got enough groundswell, you can say, hey, we want to work on this project, and they might go, all right, as long as you make the new COD, you can do that as well. Right?
Okay.
Whereas with their part of Blizzard, it's going to be, hey, we need to make Overwatch good. Overwatch 2 good. How can you help us?
Okay,
unless Overwatch plays like Tony Hawk.
R.I.P. Vicarious Visions.
Yeah.
That's not the only purchase merge news. Big Ant is a Melbourne studio.
Yes. Nacom, I assume.
Been purchased by Nacom. Yeah. Now Nacom they're a publisher.
Yes.
Do they do peripherals? Am I
yes,
wrong?
they do.
Okay.
So they're a French company, I want to say.
They do WRC, the WRC games, Tennis World Tour.
They do the Digest stick, which is a great little arcade stick if people want it. They're a French company, I want to say. Le Quim. So they do a bunch of like random stuff. They've been buying indie devs. You'll see as well. They've been releasing a bunch of indie stuff.
Okay. Nothing.
They own World Rally Championship license. They've had it for a while.
That was the biggest game that I reckon.
They've done the Warhammer stuff. So see V Rally, all that is all them. So a lot lot
I got V Rally on my Dreamcast.
So the big one.
Say Seffi, I got V Rally on the Dreamcast through HDMI. Really nice.
Nah.
You'd like it.
But the main thing for that is, so they do the cricket games. Big Ant out here. They do.
Well, I was just going to say they haven't done an AFL Live for a while. They did the 2011 one.
Yeah.
They did Jetpack Joyride and Fruit Ninja ports of the Vita. What's that? Is that like a Switch?
Fruit Ninja on the Vita.
What's a Vita?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like
that. It means life, but it sounds like a dead console.
It's a life.
Yeah.
It's an opposite day.
Yeah.
Cricket games. There's a bunch of cricket games.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Big Ant purchased by... I thought it was weird because I thought Nacon was a peripheral.
They're both. My only thing I would say is suddenly you've got a French company putting money into an Australian dev. Now, there's one big sport that crosses over from France, England, Australia, blah, blah, blah. If they get the rugby league license or a rugby license, if they get a union license or something like that, don't be surprised if it's Big Ant making it for them. They understand the sport intrinsically. I'm sure they've worked on rugby games in the past.
They have done rugby
games. They've done AFL games in the past, so they understand footy and stuff. So don't be surprised then if that helps them break into the English market and break into like the other European markets. Strategy. Do you know what I mean? So I just wouldn't be surprised if that's the thing.
Well done, Big Ant.
Yes.
It's a Melbourne developer, so good stuff.
Yeah.
So
we did a question why we're streaming on Twitch.
Yes,
we've always done this on Facebook, pretty much always.
Yeah, look, Facebook's nice and easy, and I wanted to do it. Actually, originally I wanted to do these regularly as like a show, like a project. That was my thing, and we do lots of different themes every night. We haven't got there yet.
Yeah. But it's coming. I've
talked to Jason about doing Twitch. We're probably not quite set up.
The main issue with Twitch, the only thing I'd say, the main issue with Twitch is that it's exclusive. So if we do this at the same time as Twitch, we can't. Because our partnership contract precludes us from doing so. Whereas if we do it on here, I could put it to Periscope. I could put it to... Is Periscope a thing? I'm a boomer.
It is if you're a pedo.
Yeah, apparently.
It's a pedo network.
I watch anime, dude. Like fucking
hang on. Wait. Is that Sterling Griffin?
I'm gonna dial the 2 zeros. Yeah.
I need to report somebody.
I'll tell you, shit's gonna come out about him after he leaves. I promise you.
Like, Senator Sterling Griff's just got off his Asuna body pillow.
Yeah,
he's coming right over.
Yeah, he's hugging it at the moment.
Citizen's arrest.
Yeah. He can try if he wants.
What are we talking about?
Yeah. So that's the main reason why we do these on Facebook and not on Thing. But you can obviously catch us on Spotify, which a lot of people do. And hello, ladies, I guess, for those on
Spotify. It is, because Spotify gives us... It's probably one of the most accurate as far as gender and age breakdowns.
Yeah.
Because I look, obviously, if you go and generally on the internet, the old "there's no girls on the internet." It's the same because there's so many people catfishing, right?
Yeah.
But we figure on Spotify, which is giving us because on all our podcast streaming platforms, they always give us different stats. But Spotify gives us age and gender breakdowns in there, and it's old. Basically,
don't say old. Don't. You
well,
know better than that. Jesus Christ.
I'm post 50.
You're a man.
Right?
It doesn't matter. You're allowed to.
Post 50. But
more mature women.
But and it is totally the opposite of our.
Do you reckon that's because they're the ones sign up for the accounts and the kids are listening to it or something like that?
It could be. I don't know. I just thought
Mum signed up for the account and then
I thought it was a peculiar thing because, and I say that purely because I see the demographics of YouTube in that, and they're just so different.
Younger. YouTube skews to 8-year-olds. Twitch skews to 20-year-olds.
This is why YouTube brought in the ads, because YouTube, they had a gap there. The advertisers weren't getting kids because YouTube is 20 and under, right, or under 20s. Then you get into Twitch. Twitch is your 20-somethings and so on, right? Yeah. And nobody's watching TV that's younger than 45, 50, right? I always used to say newspapers die with the baby boomers and TV dies with Gen X. Although, in the last few years, there's been an enormous push, especially out of the US, to restore TV. And in YouTube's part, YouTube now will promote videos that are like 26 minutes long as its ideal length. Coincidentally, the length of a half-hour show on US TV.
Honestly, I've even noticed that from our videos, believe it or not. Like, our episodes used to lag behind, and now they're, if not as much, if not more views.
Because the episodes are made for 30 minutes TV spot, and you take out the age, you get about 22 to 26 minutes, or something like that. It really depends. But I don't think it's like 22, but you get the idea. Because you're the producer. Yeah. But YouTube has started to promote that length of video. So there has been a push to get TV back on. And the other thing YouTube's done is all the adpocalypse was purely about the fact that people who are like the age of my children and who are teens and all their friends, they weren't going near TV. Yeah. We've got TVs in the house they never turn on.
First time I saw TV in years was Saturday night. We went out for Josh's birthday, right? So we're out having drinks or whatever, and afterwards I'm like, let's get a couple of slices of pizza at Pepperoni's, right? So we go to Pepperoni's on Elizabeth. Elizabeth Street's always a ruckus. I'm glad to see that COVID didn't change that Elizabeth Street being a shithole. Elizabeth Street's worse than King Street. I don't care what you say. At least in King Street, they're going to fight you. Whereas Elizabeth Street, you know what they're going to fucking do.
King Street
yeah. So I went to Pepperoni's and I'm sitting there eating pizza and I'm looking up and it's Channel 9 and they're like, as part of our list of channels, and they have like 9 channels, of course, because C31 can't get a channel, but Channel 9 can have.
Well, they gave 31 to SBS,
yeah.
So, but 44.
44. Yeah. Anyway, so that's blah blah blah. And then they're selling ad packages like C31 does, and I'm like, they're not even hiding it anymore. It's like $25,000 will get you an ad on our network.
But their problem was, and look, the Australian ones, they're trying a different way, and we'll get to that later because I had a story that's linked into this. But the US method was, and this was frustrating because nobody was watching TV because TV offers shit.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, TV just... If TV offered what young people wanted to watch, they'd watch it.
Yeah.
There's TVs everywhere. They're not hard to find, right? And nowadays, it's not like the old days we had one TV when I was in the house and you had to watch what your dad wanted and then go to bed when it got to 8:30 because he was going on SBS for the boobs, right? But see, things have changed a lot. And so kids can watch TV if they want, but they don't.
Yeah.
So they watch YouTube all day because it's got the creators they like. It's got the stuff they like. What I was always surprised that TV networks never went to some of the big creators and licensed their content, because to me that would have made sense.
For sure.
But they won't. And there's enormous, some of this, I mean, I've seen stats that, like, say, compared to CNN's the one I've seen it compared to, like, CNN's ratings are lower than a large percentage of the big YouTube creators, right?
Sure.
So, and this is why the adpocalypse that happened. A lot of people, they want to talk about the political reasons for whatever. It's not. It's purely because the advertisers couldn't get to the teenage kids.
Yeah.
And they need to get the teenage kids. They need them to be seeing the ads. They need to start the repeated messaging.
They need to get to them early. And that was what they used to do. They used to do it with
Cradle to Grave.
They used to do it with breakfast cartoons. They used to do it with cereals. All that kind of stuff was how they'd get kids. It'd be like, it's the Mattel Power Hour, presented by such and such. And then they remember that name, and then they go, oh yeah,
it was a strategy that worked, right? And they knew it worked, and it worked really well. Basically, all they had to do was advertise in the right spot, make a shitload of product, and it would sell.
Yeah.
But they weren't being able to do that with and they tried a couple of different ways to do it. And in the end, YouTube just gave in and decided it would be TV. So now YouTube has effectively become a US TV network, which is really bad because it's part of the push of the US hegemony, or whatever you say. They're pushing US culture even more onto us now, and it's quite frustrating. It's happened really badly in the last 4 years. It's really pushed US culture has become the dominant thing on the internet. To the exclusion of all others, as if not just pushing it as their way of doing things, as if cultures like even Australian culture, which does exist, they're pretending it doesn't.
Yeah.
And people in Australia are adopting it. We're starting to talk now. You have any conversation now, people will be talking about politics from a US perspective, right? And that's part of their complete takeover. And YouTube became like a worldwide TV network, and the ads were to get to the kids because the advertisers want the kids. They want them early, cradle to grave marketing. They want the messages implanted in their brains, and it's quite frustrating because the way they did it was they didn't sit there and say, oh, why is YouTube popular? Why are the kids on it? They went there and went, the kids are wrong. It's Seymour Skinner. They've done a we wrong? No, it's the children who are wrong. And they've gone and changed YouTube to be TV, which is because that's what they understood. But the problem was what they understood, nobody wanted.
Yeah.
And I'd argue, you still don't want.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like, I could harp on about US cultural push all day. I mean, to me, what was I playing the other day? And there was like an Indian character. Was I playing or watching it? And they're using they've got an Indian accent, but they're using just pure American slang. It's like, you didn't even try. You didn't even try and embrace that culture and use their slang.
Milan, they tried to do Chinese culture, but it was an American story.
Yeah, yeah.
It really was. American version of feminism put into a Chinese story about feminism.
Yeah. And it sucks because the first one had such a better message on all fronts on that thing, you know what I mean? I maintain there was a little bit more Chinese influence than you give credit for on that one. Like, I definitely think that China's all about maintaining the social harmony.
True, but
serve
the emperor. The Yanks like that
exactly, and I think that is the main problem. Is that it
the only thing the Yanks really hate about the Chinese is that it's not them.
Yeah,
that's.
I mean, it's like Al Qaeda. You know what I mean? Like it's the same argument. It's the same religious argument based on a Brahmic sect. Thing, but like you just
it's all the same stuff, different
names.
All exactly. You rename it, everyone goes, oh, it's different. Yeah, it's different. Anyway, that's where we're going with YouTube. Let's go about another game news. What was I up to? Oh, okay. Star Wars. This open world Star Wars game is being developed by Ubisoft.
Yes.
Star Wars fans are happy, and the reason being is that Star Wars games are always better than Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
In fact, Star Wars fans are in an abusive relationship with their franchise because their franchise is just treating them like shit, and they still keep coming back for more. And outside of something like Mandalorian, I mean, Star Wars has just been shit since 1982. People. It's just I got lightsabers. Now they even call them laser swords. They don't even call them lightsabers anymore. And Disney are one of the worst companies.
Well, I think it's made by the Division 2 guys, isn't it?
Okay, that's what I was going. Yeah, made by Division. Now, Division and Division 2, or at least the Division. The Division games are fantastic. They are really, really, really good games. If their Star Wars game is being made by that team, I reckon it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I'll call it now because the Division games were superb. Division 2 is a really, really good game.
Yeah.
And it's had long-term support. It's had a lot of stuff added. So
I'll tell you one thing. We can shit on Ubisoft for a lot of things, but the one thing that they have been very smart on is if they flub a launch, they're great at capitalising on it and fixing the problems that exist. Rainbow Six exists now in a state that no one would have picked when the first one was sent out to die. You know what I mean? Even Assassin's Creed games, 2 years after the fact, they get like the Egyptian one got the tourism mod where you can basically just fly around and here's the Great Pyramids and a whole thing about the pyramids and all that kind of stuff.
I've played Assassin's Creed games since one.
They're all pretty good. The new ones are pretty good.
I liked it, but it was repetitive, and I kind of
like Don says, they're aggressively mediocre, aggressively average. Do you know what I mean? As in,
I played Black Flag on the Wii U.
Yeah,
that was like an animated GIF.
Yeah, look, you should play. It's cheap on an Xbox.
Really
just buy it on Xbox. Black Flag's worth playing.
I got it games for gold. I kind of own it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's a good game.
I know. It looked like fun. It looked like a really good game. But yeah. So look, I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you can finally get excited about something that will be good.
Yeah.
Not all these announcements of TV shows and movies that are going to be shit. Don't worry, there'll be complaints. But yeah, if it's
and
made
then
by
didn't
the
they announce
team,
that there's potentially a KOTOR Old Republic thing in the works as well?
Oh,
that came out today. So there's a KOTOR Old Republic.
Well, that'll excite people.
Proper RPG.
Yeah.
Not made by EA and BioWare. So the argument is it Obsidian? And if it's Obsidian, everyone's going to lose their fucking minds. Microsoft would be all about that. Microsoft would have paid money for that.
If I was watching, it would have just fallen over.
Yeah. So that last bit speculation on my part, but like
nice.
Yeah, if it's Obsidian, like I say, we're now in a position where Microsoft own Bethesda, right? So they could give 3D Fallout to Obsidian, and they could give 2D Fallout to In Exile, which was all the guys who made the original ones, because they made Wasteland. And it's like, and you could basically have the old dev teams working back on Fallouts and make them great again, as opposed to 4 and 76. Because 4 sucked. 4 super sucked.
Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember I was, as you know, I was addicted to scrapping. When it first came out, I was scrapping. And then it actually did get old really quick. It is like me, got old real quick.
Yeah.
It's got bored. So yeah, look, Fallout. I remember Fallout 4, and remember that E3 when that was one of the games announced.
Yeah.
And everyone was just so excited. Like, gaming's back. Like, after a really shit year or so, like this, we're back on games. It's great.
And then the more came out, it's like, oh, you can create your own base, mine on Minecraft, and then lo and behold, it's fucking Minecraft.
Well, I would have liked, I would have. It was more like Disney Infinity, the way they did bases there. But yeah, it would have been better actually if the only problem I had. Oh, not the only problem, but the big problem I had with making the bases in Fallout was they were still scrappy and ugly, and I would have really liked to have been able to tidy them up.
Yeah.
Because I'm running the place. I'm not building a base with like wreck walls and wreck stuff. I would.
And we know the Commonwealth exists, so there's access to that kind of technology, and we know there's vaults that exist in good order. And
what's that underground joint? The Institute. Right?
Yeah,
It's good shit, right? So, but I have to have a house with like cracked tiles and stuff.
Because what game are they making that Todd Howard's involved in?
I've got like a filter set up.
Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So it's the guys who made Wolfenstein.
Can't wait to be
That's
disappointed.
good.
Okay.
So they like punching Nazis so much that they make 3 games about punching Nazis.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually, Indiana
and
Jones.
then Todd Howard is executive producer, and it's like like just pull the flush chain now, like.
Like you were doing really well until then.
Yeah, it's like when they're like, "Oh, new Star Fox game made by Platinum Games. Fuck yeah, that sounds great." Oh, Miyamoto's executive producing, and now I'm using motion controls to aim my laser. I'm like, this is so fucking shit. Like,
I didn't know that last one, but okay, cool. Open world Star Wars game. It's gonna be good. Fallout 4 Guys. Sorry.
Yes.
On the subject of Fall, Fall Guys is coming to Xbox, but not to Game Pass, because that was a mix-up on Twitter. Twitter's about mix-ups. Twitter is purely there to cause problems. And for journos to pretend that they're networking. So that's all it is. But Fall Guys is coming. I don't know. Is it going to miss the boat?
Nah.
It's still popular.
And then you watch once the exclusivity on PlayStation is up, which is the 1-year exclusivity or 2-year exclusivity, it'll be on Game Pass. There's no way Microsoft don't just say, you want another 10 million? You know what I mean? Like, we'll give you 1 month's worth of subscribers for it, and they'll be like okay.
The guys in Idiocracy. I like money.
Yeah.
I watch Idiocracy.
I still don't like that movie. I don't know. I understand the premise, and I get it, and looking at that couple at the start, I relate too well to it. Now's not a good time to have a kid.
Which one?
You know, you know what I mean? And Jim Bob's off their thing, and they managed to save his testicles so he has more kids and shit like that.
That was like science.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I definitely relate to that, and I'm just like...
Yeah, the only thing I got wrong, they had, I mean, it did happen in real life, but they were the whole thing being the dumbing down of American society, which has happened, but they had a black president.
Yeah.
Even though he was an ex-porn star and an ex-wrestler, that really, in that world, that would have happened. But, look, it was I thought it was best documentary I've seen for a long time.
Yeah, right.
Best documentary since Vice. Have you watched Vice?
As in the channel?
No, the movie about Cheney.
No, I've been meaning to.
Oh, I tell you, okay. Anybody that will tell you and go, let's just say somebody else is the worst president of all time, and then there's somebody else that say that he's not George W. Bush, needs to watch Vice.
And George W. Bush or Reagan are your 2 options. If you say anyone but those 2, I'm
okay,
out.
I get it, but we have this thing where everything has to be the best or the worst, or and I get that because everyone feels it's so immediate, it's so recent. But if you don't think that George W. Bush was the worst president ever for the entire world,
I heard about Vice and how they pulled it. That you see how Dick Cheney slowly just takes over operations and basically he Peter Credlin'd it super hard. And like it became basically his office just with the puppet in charge. It's like, well, I don't feel sorry for G-Dub because he didn't have to step up, but he did. You know what I mean? Just because Jeb is so unlikable that the only contribution he could have was still in Florida from Gore.
Couldn't even be Trump. But this is another thing. And I know we got 35 minutes in. We got back. This is another thing people have been trying to tell me. They go, "Oh, but George Bush wasn't that bad." The thing people forget is that George W. Bush literally stole an election.
Yeah.
Right. Literally did. off Gore, and it's not as bad as he started 2 wars based on absolute fabrications and set up the conditions for the GSC, made an anti-Muslim no-fly list so that brown people could be harassed at airports, made a torture program so brown people were tortured.
Shout out to Guantanamo.
It's only racism if it happens inside US borders, apparently. But it's not that bad. That's only part of it, right? The worst bit is he defeated Al Gore, who believed in climate change. Yeah. And if you had have had a US president 20 years ago who had have actually done something, things would have been very different now. Yeah. So, and that to me is probably worse than the other bits because you not just the wars and that, but the fact that we let 20 years go of the fossil fuel industry still doing what it wants with the planet.
I found a lot of games. Obviously, they set themselves at points. It's just after World War II. It's just after Vietnam War, and they're telling this story. The one that I'm seeing a lot more lately is either just before or just after 9/11. I think people don't, especially young kids, don't appreciate how much the world changed at 9/11. Like how much the world became.
The actually says that, and everything's a 9/11 now.
Yeah, I mean, like even foreign games are doing it, and I'm like, and it's true because it was an American thing, and it was the fallout from American, hubris. Let's be real. But it did change the way the world sees everything. Do you remember how easy it used to be getting on an airplane? Do you remember I remember my teenage years how easy it was getting on an airplane?
My skin colour.
Yeah, I never had a problem. When I used to have my beard long, I get pulled over all the time.
And
Irish name, long beard, I'm dead.
It's not nice to say. Well, it's not nice to say, but that's just I've only ever been minorly hassled.
Yeah, I get ruckus.
And I have heard people being hassled more. But look, people forget. Yeah, what happened in the world then, and I think anybody who's going to try and tell me anything about worst presidents ever, watch Vice. You should watch Vice. I didn't know what it was actually called. I know what it is, but yeah, it is so good, and it just lays it out. It's a lot like The Big Short. Just lays out what happened in a storytelling way.
Yeah, is The Big Short the Enron one? Or is that the GFC one?
GFC one, yeah.
The Enron one was pretty... The smartest guys in the room was Enron one.
Is that? I've got to
that
watch
was pretty
that.
good,
yeah. And in fact, it also you watch that, and you watch like Idiocracy and some of that, and you see how Hollywood changed. Now we went and saw the new Wonder Woman movie, right?
Yeah, right.
And my wife hated it so bad, she wanted to leave partway through.
Yeah.
Right? My daughter loved it, so, target market got nailed. But the old Wonder Woman fan from the 80s, who loved Wonder Woman then... wasn't even rescued by the Linda Carter campaign.
Second and third wave.
Well, it was incredible, the difference. But there was a bit in there. That I didn't mind the movie. I just sat there and enjoyed it. Right, it was pretty dumb, but it's a superhero movie. I wasn't expecting much, right? But I think my wife was expecting more because she's so attached to the character and the stuff around it because she used to love that character in TV. But the thing that did really strike out, and this is the big difference that's happened in movies, and superheroes delivered it a bit. When have you seen it?
No.
Okay.
Well, I won't.
The girl that becomes Cheetah, she's a comedian.
Yeah.
So
Kristen Wiig.
I think she's Cheetah. Anyway, she's basically they've got this artifact they've got, and this is not going to be a spoiler, right? But she's got this artifact they've got a place, and she goes in the office, and her boss comes on and goes, "The FBI wants to talk to you to help work out what that artifact is." And she starts going, "Oh, the FBI, I'd love to work with the FBI. Oh, it'd be like, it's like a dream of mine to work with. The FBI's coming, it's so good." And she wasn't being sarcastic. She was like, seriously, like, I can't wait to work with the FBI because the FBI is such top people. And I'm like, that's a big change in Hollywood in the last 10 years.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I guess like if you look back even as like Silence of the Lambs and stuff, they always portrayed the FBI in a reasonably positive light. But then the deeper you go into it, like the more nuanced and complex that was. But you got to remember, like they're trying to, who they're trying to resuscitate at the moment? James Comey. Real bad. You want to do full politics. They're trying, like, that's another resuscitation of image. It's like they've got interviews with him talking about why he came out and sent the email. He came out and sent the email because he wanted to diddle the balls of Trump and wanted to keep his job. That's why he did it.
Yeah, he was basically playing. He was basically saying, "Who do I think's going to win at this point?"
Correct.
And he was just doing that, and he was playing the game.
Because if he was wrong, Hillary wouldn't have punished him in the way that Trump would have. Do you know what I mean? Like. He wouldn't have been pushed out quite as quick. Same with Mueller. Mueller was one of the people who insisted that there was weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, all these people have been.
He's going to save the left, though. He's going to save the left. Don't worry. He's going to save it.
You mentioned 9/11 before, and we have gone political again because we can't help it. One of the worst parts probably the worst part was the reaction to it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the last 4 years with Orange Man. Maybe the worst thing that happened was the reaction to it.
Yeah.
Because what you've got is now he was always going to be temporary in one way or another, but the reaction, the systems are built up around him resisting him is still there, and they're still stupid. And what you have now is you've got people who are and what you've got now is you've got people who are like, who call themselves left, but think the FBI and the CIA are the good guys.
They're friends.
And like they're sort of so far off the reality with that. It's not funny. Because look, the only reason, or the big reason why the black community in America has never been able to actually get up to equal footing is the FBI. Yeah. And the big reason why there's fascism all over the world is the CIA. And we need to not be embracing them just because Trump didn't like them, didn't make them good guys.
So, I mean, like Fred Hampton, MLK, and Robert Kennedy. I still maintain Robert Kennedy got shot by the FBI.
Absolutely. The FBI was on a murder spree for a decade. They were just, anybody got uppity, and they still would do.
Uppity the word for it too.
Anybody got uppity. Anyway, let's get back to gaming news, because the response is sometimes worse. The cure is sometimes worse than the disease. Yeah. And in 9/11,
embracing the CIA.
And if you consider yourself in any way left, if you're listening, watching, the FBI and the CIA are not your friends.
I know your friends. Yeah,
They never will be. There's nothing that will change that. And if you think they're your friends,
and if you just ask any South American you know who ever professed to try and be socialist or communist,
it's probably the Americans. They don't give a shit what happens inside their borders. Yeah. If it happens outside their border, you murder every brown person in the world. They don't care because as soon as the racism inside America,
again, let it at the moment is very much. Oh, but Trump killed 400,000 of his own people. How do you respond to that? It's like, George Bush killed millions of people by
I saw a US ad. It was I was going to say Obama. It was a Biden ad, and they said 150,000 people died of coronavirus. And it's like, of coronavirus, and I thought that's great. And then you get George Bush come on and do stuff, and you go, he killed 500,000 Iraqis just because he wanted a bit of money.
So, started the power vacuum for ISIS. So,
he created all the problems that are there now. Anyway, People just got such short memories. Okay, Fall Guys coming to Xbox games. Okay, on the Nintendo Switch, better get back on the games. Nintendo Switch, if you price your game less than $1.99, you won't get on the best sellers list.
Which is good,
Stop game. I reckon it should be higher. I reckon it should be like $30 because honestly, it is still.
There's a good game for $30 though. There's a good game for $10.
The Switch. Look, I love my Switch, and I love that I can hop on by $1.50 game with Stomp Ewoks and all that. It's basically the Return of the Jedi ending I always wanted. Should have closed off the whole movie series after that until Mandalorian.
It's a bit Avatar. It's a bit Return of the Jedi. The more you play it and stuff like that. I'm
but they're not blue. I mean, it could be Avatar.
I'm at a mission at the moment where I have to walk through the facility, so you have to not step on the guys. So it's like, fucking this is so tedious. That's where I've stopped. Because I just can't be bothered.
No, you should step on everyone. It's if they're in your way.
Yeah, that's what I reckon. It's if you're stupid enough to walk where the
it's like people in the movies when there's a gunfight, they run around and go, "Oh, don't shoot!" You go, "No, you're an idiot."
Get low and get going.
Get out of the gene pool. So So anyway, games under $1.99. If you price your game under $1.99, that's Australian, so it's probably $1.
It'd be probably $1.50 or something American.
It's you won't get on the bestsellers list to stop the mobile.
There was a lot of people doing that.
99-cent.
And at the moment, there's so many $1, $2 games on sale at the moment.
There was a 15-cent game I saw that was 90% off. Why give me a discount? It's 15 cents, 90% off. Look, I think they need to raise that because honestly, the Switch, as much as I love it, I love you can get the games like that Walker game. It's still full of heap of shit. Yeah. It is still full of a whole heap of stuff and no doubt
it's got the Steam problem even worse than Steam ever had.
It's become the portable Steam console but more expensive. Yeah. You can't buy publisher things. You used to be able to Steam at least buy publisher packs and that. The sales aren't quite as
Actually, they've been doing that on Xbox and stuff lately. Like the guys who originally made Burnout spun off and done their own series and they've done packs. There's a bunch of packs on Xbox at the moment. Even the Jackbox games, you can buy Jackbox games for $90. You know what I mean?
If you want games that don't cost a ridiculous amount, the Xbox is the only console I own right now. It really is. It's just if you got kids, you get an Xbox. We say this every second or third podcast. Especially if you have kids, you got accused of being on the take. Get an Xbox and Game Pass because $15 a month they're playing.
Yeah, it's fucking good.
Actually, my son just bought one of the Tom Clancy games for $14 something, and because he's sitting. Can't do anything else. He just played the hell out of it. It's like for $14. It's like I haven't had to talk to him for 3 days. It's like, parents, if you want a babysitter, Xbox and Game Pass will do the job. Minecraft Earth. It's another gaming thing. Minecraft Earth is being shut down in June. Now that remember Minecraft Earth is the augmented reality game where you can go out. Yeah, and it came along just before coronavirus hit. The worst timing
Imagine
possible.
Pokemon Go came out in March last year, you know.
Yeah, it was just, and I feel bad for it. They're shutting it down. It probably won't come back because it sounds like they've said, like they do with it's a Microsoft thing. The Microsoft loves saying, "Oh, we're just going to move on to other things now." Did we make that? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Thing.
What's a Zoom?
Zoom, or Band, Windows Phone, so all those things. Windows Home Server, that file system that could quickly catalog all your images and stuff like that, which would have been pretty bloody handy these days. There's a whole host of things that Microsoft just keep making and forgetting about. But Minecraft Earth is the latest one, so it's basically being shut down in June. So, and I feel bad for it because it just came along at the wrong time in history.
The absolute worst time.
The worst time to make an outside game. Would have been good though to be able to walk around. Okay, let's say another quick one. Epic purchased Rad Game Tools. May not mean much, but if you ever seen a Bink video icon on
it's gone back.
So Epic now owns basically the company that makes Bink Video, also Game Profiler and 3D and some data compression stuff. But Bink Video is a big one, so Epic effectively own that. And well, we've probably got enough time. We'll keep this shorter than that. So now Optus and Telstra, and this is.
Oh yeah, right. Because we were going to try and keep it under an hour, but good luck now.
Okay, we'll try and be quick. Okay. Optus and Telstra want streaming game companies, and that's Stadia, xCloud, Microsoft. They want them to help pay the costs for upgrading their network to have those game streaming services on them. So basically, it's a bit like, I compare this to Rupert Murdoch wanting, the Australian government wanting money from Google.
You said it right the first time.
I think you're right. So Murdoch wanting money for Google to have his articles on there. And for Facebook to have the article. Basically, it's rent seeking, and Australia is big for rent seeking as far as it goes.
We've always been duopolies. We've always been monopolies. Absolutely,
we are a monopoly country, and we have. If you can get in tight with the government, you're guaranteed to get. And in fact, I sort of think basically the only real ways to get really rich in Australia is to either get really tight with the government and get some sort of
kickback,
favorite sort of law or something made, or be born rich.
Yeah.
Now So basically, Optus and Telstra wants streaming game companies to help pay for the upgrade to their infrastructure to support their streaming games.
So they want basically these other companies to pay for what their actual job is. Like they want to as a consumer, aren't I already paying for that? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care about your overhead. If you don't find that it's good business, you can deny that traffic. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could always say we don't support xCloud on our platform.
This is a problem with this rent-seeking mentality in Australian corporations, right? They don't see it that way, and it's the same thing. Like Google doesn't need News Corp.
No,
right? News Corp needs Google. No, sorry. Let's make it more accurate. News Corp needs Facebook.
Yeah.
Right. Facebook does not need News Corp.
Yeah.
So why is News Corp wanting Facebook to pay, right? Yeah. It's that rent-seeking mentality. It's like, my friend is the Prime Minister, therefore you owe me money. And that's what's happening. Now, Optus and Telstra, now, they didn't mention NBN, so they're not... So this is about mobile.
This is mobile,
Right? Now, it's because you say, well, the NBN's pretty
If they put that on NBN, like... Because, I mean, let's be real. If this country votes the Liberals in again... Telstra's just going to buy the NBN for $100 million.
They'll be giving it. They won't even buy it. I mean, the government bought the copper network off Telstra for $18 or $19 billion, right? It was something $18 or $19 billion. You can Google it, something like that. The government gave that money and said, because you're doing the NBN now, you don't need your copper network. We'll subsidize. We'll give it. Then they turned around a little while later and let Telstra keep using the copper network.
Yes, they let them keep it, and then they gave them the maintenance contracts for it on top of that.
Straight into shareholders' pockets.
So that was So the original one was I think it was only 10 million, 10 billion for
10 billion. Okay.
Yeah. So Labor paid them and said, okay, fine, we'll pay for your asset, but that's it. You're done. See you later. Have a nice life, Charlie. If you want to use anything, here's our NBN sales contract. Yeah,
you need copper for Cat5 cables and stuff. Would have been
exactly. And so that's all very good. Here you go, Merry Christmas. And then, of course, the Libs get in, and the first thing they do is give it back to them, let them keep using it. That's why Optus felt slighted.
Keep the money.
Yeah. That was why Optus felt so slighted, was because it was like, the Optus got such a low level. And then they tried to use it, they tried to test it all, and then, of course, they're like, oh, well, it has to be remediated. We'll hire Telstra to remediate their cables. and then they'll just get it back in the end anyway. Again, like I say, anyone who talks about John Howard, how he's a fan of the Battlers, they're either drunk or fucking stupid.
He's like
and being a boomer, it's all the leaded petrol. It's all the leaded petrol affecting their brains. Have a look at the
same thing we're talking about George W. Bush.
The violent crime of the early 90s, and it drops off the second we stop using lead petrol, right? But all the boomers are too infected, too much lead in the brain. Like, yeah.
Well, and also...
And not the right kind of lead.
The newspapers used to be printed on lead.
Yeah.
So remember you used to wrap fish and chips in it,
yeah.
And sometimes the print would come off on the fish and chips. Anyway, so that's you might not remember that.
No, I'm old enough. I remember.
You used to have sitting on your handlebars, your bike riding around eating chips with the
handlebars.
But the newspaper, the lead used to come off the newspapers. Anyway, so but yeah, so Optus and Telstra won streaming game companies, and that'd be Google, Microsoft, and GeForce as well, Nvidia soon, to basically help them upgrade the network to handle the thing. I would say to them, you guys literally have one job.
Yeah.
And you should do it. But you should do your job. But anyway, more rent seeking by Australian corporations, which is actually something that I'd worry about while the Libs are there, because they might actually bring in legislation to force it.
Yeah.
Look.
Never ever vote Liberal. I say it every time. I do a status.
It's a
no
joke.
one listens to me. It's not even a joke, but people don't listen.
This is a joke.
This is exactly the kind of shit. There's a reason we needed the NBN in the first place. Like, to me, like, in 20, 30 years' time, when all the boomers are dead who did this to us so their stock portfolio, so they could go around Cooper
the franking credits.
The dividend imputation, like you like to say.
It wasn't actually franking credits.
It was dividend imputation, was what they were getting rid of. Like,
if only we had a media that had the ability to not lie.
Because everyone says this, I heard Bill Short lose. I'm like, I'm amazed that it was as close as it was, considering $60 million from Clive Palmer, of every Murdoch coverage in the thing. Everyone covers how he was a top. Like, say what you want about him, because Luke made a joke in our Discord. He was like, because Scotty was doing all the rounds of all the mines and stuff. He go, I wouldn't feel too bad if he got caught in a mine elevator. I'm like, fuck, you'd want someone like Bill Shorten running that, wouldn't you? Because remember Beaconsfield?
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. That was what blooded him into politics. And I'm like, so to me, like, I'm amazed it was as close as it was. But yeah, it just cannot be stressed hard enough. Like, I just feel like I have to do a separate set of like videos and stuff like that highlight all this bullshit for the little bit it does. If it gets 10 voters in a swing seat to
maybe able to, because look, honestly, the last 4 years, and one of the things, remember, we discussed a few times, we're cringy about a political podcast, which we kind of do. We put some gaming stuff in it, but the market was flooded. For the last 4 years, it's been flooded because everyone just can't stop talking about the orange ticket. Right? Hopefully, if it dies down, the market won't be as flooded with grifters, basically all grifters.
Yeah.
Don't
read pedestrian, don't read junkie is always my advice.
Yeah, so maybe there'll be space to actually get into some serious political conversation, because we don't have enough serious. Because the journalists that are left in Australian media generally are just not good enough. They're just not smart enough. So when you get franking credits and dividend imputation, they don't know, and they can't explain to them because they're like cats.
But let's keep in mind. Let's say for example you did know the difference, and you said, well, here's a dividend imputation, blah blah blah, and you're not someone with an established name. A sub editor is going to look at that and go, no. Where franking credits is the message. That's what Peter said at the last board meeting. We can't talk about dividend imputation. We talk about franking credits.
Yeah, because you got the message. Because on the Murdoch side, they're on message and they're very good at staying on message. On the other side, you got people that are actually idiots. Yeah. Look, I heard on the news the other day. It was ABC. My wife watched live ABC. I was listening in the background.
ABC's not the other side anymore.
No, but this is where they're at mentally, like intellectually where they're at. Okay, they said I think it was New South Wales, South Australia, it doesn't matter, but they were saying restaurants now they're cutting the 1 person for every 4 square meters rule down to 1 person every 2 square meters. Yes. And so that means restaurants are happy because they'll be able to have twice as many people in the restaurant now.
Yes, but only if they had that space to begin with, like.
But also, that's not how our area works.
Yeah, no.
This is the stuff they're just not up to it. They're just not mentally up to it, which is a real pity, because when they do come down and explain something like franking credit versus dividend imputation, they just can't. They're just not there, and it's a real pity that the good ones have gone. The good ones just saw the writing on the wall a while ago and said, "I'm out."
Yeah, so let's be real. The best ones are what? Australian Independent Media Network are good. Michael West is good. I hate to sound like Geordie.
Michael Pascoe. Read his stuff. He's the guy that went to Business Insider and got screwed over. He's really good. He's on ABC occasionally, but he's really brilliant.
No idea.
I'm going to forget it, and I really feel bad because he's absolutely one of the best. Michael Collar.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it Michael Collar?
Yeah. Pretty sure it's someone
Collar.
Yeah.
No, he's fantastic. Yeah. But I've had a brain fade.
And then also, even if you're going to do like those kind of lefty opinion articles, the Chaser site is good. The Shot's good. The Shot is the real life Chaser. So Chaser is the parody site, and the Shot is the.
If you want political comedy, McAuliffe, and just stop there.
Yeah.
What's his name? Collar. Might be David Collar.
Maybe.
Hang on, I'm going to.
I know who you mean though. As soon as you said it, I'm like, no, I actually know the surname. Yeah.
When it comes to anything economic, always read him. And I can't find it, so yeah, we go. Collar Coat. Remember that?
Yeah, you're going to get the American company and stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, because it's all, actually, you notice it. Alan Collar. Sorry.
Alan Collar, yeah.
My apologies to Alan Collar because I forgot his name. I had a brain fade after I was saying journalists are idiots, but this is often. But Alan Collar is the best person I reckon to read about economic stuff. And Michael Pascoe is great as well.
Yeah.
But there's good journalists there. But not generally the ones you see.
Yeah, they're the ones that get the voice because it'll hit a sub editor and an editor will go, well, no, that's not the message. That's not what we're trying to convey.
Or they're like Roland and that. They're just idiots. They're just. I mean, I like to use my R word, but they are. They actually literally their brains just aren't developed enough, and so they have to explain complex things to voters, and the voters don't know.
Yeah.
They just can't know. And even smart people make bad decisions with bad information.
Yeah, and that's what I argue is I think. Realistically, we've never been more educated from the point of view of tertiary education and the point of curriculums and stuff like that. So, but it's not the young people who aren't buying the message. It's the old people who are just eating hook, line and sinker.
I got educated in university of life.
Yeah, I walked into a factory and asked for a job, and I worked there for 45 years, and I don't know why you can't just do that nowadays. It's like... boomer.
Basically,
boomer. Like,
basically Queensland.
Okay.
But Optus and Telstra, I knew they'd get political, but Optus and Telstra won Microsoft and Google and that to pay to upgrade the networks to have their game streaming services on. They're worried about the peaks from the game streaming affecting other traffic. They can get fucked. They've got one job.
They can go make better infrastructure.
But it is a sign of the rent seeking that we have in Australian corporations, and it's coming out more brazen now. It's more obvious, and you see it with the newspaper thing where Murdoch wants Facebook to pay him to advertise his content, which is garbage. It's another rent seeking.
Like I said to you off air, I would be passably okay with them saying we want to do this if it included the ABC and SBS and all that kind of stuff. But they won't include that in the... So the SBS and ABC won't get paid. Just the Murdoch press. And
because they say they're publicly funded, so they shouldn't get the money. No, I'm against it generally. And
I'm against it in general, don't get me wrong, but I'd at least think they were arguing from a good faith position. That's how you know it's bad faith.
Well, the libs can't. But I'm against it as a concept because this gets into that argument about does Facebook and Twitter, when they curate, are they publishers and that, and they've got to work that out, right? Because they are becoming publishers. But generally, say Facebook isn't in control of what users post. So when you or me post a link to Facebook, Facebook isn't in control of that. And unless they vet every single link, they're not completely publishers, right? They do publishing actions, which is where they get that grey area. But the fact is, I can post up from Worldwide Socialist Web, which I think I did earlier, and then you shared it, right? But Facebook didn't do that. So why should Facebook pay? Because it was us that made that decision. Now, if Facebook posted that and said, hey, everybody on Facebook should read it, you'd have an argument and say, yes, Facebook is doing that.
That's where Reddit's in a tougher spot because A, they have mods, and B, mods can post their own things. So let's say a mod posts a thread and it turns out...
That's where it becomes publishing.
Correct,
yeah. Oh, look, Twitter does a bit of that because they manipulate everything, right? But that's a grey area because they don't do everything, and it's not really that fine-tuned. But so Reddit might as well in some groups be a publisher. Because you have to approve things. Some Facebook groups...
That's where mods can cop it harder for that reason, so
But in general, as a company, see, I make websites for a living. Should I pay for what people post on their website? Well, no, because it's totally out of my control. Right? I didn't tell them to, and that's how I view Facebook and Google, and they're not in control of it.
My argument is, I reckon, and this maybe
you don't think young libs are going to be writing bots and saying post News Corp articles all day.
Like my maybe it is wishful thinking. My argument is, look at how much nasty shit they're putting through at the moment. There's Work Choices 2.0 basically there. They've got this coming up. They're still going after Bernard Collery. They're still going after Witness K. They're still going after all these people. They're doing all this nasty... I reckon they know for sure they're not winning the next one. I think they know for sure.
I think they win the last one that they did.
But I reckon they... Again, but you see what they did last time? They put all that that defence spending in there that we now have to justify.
Yeah, the traps,
They put all these traps in there.
Yeah, but now all they did was they hit it. Nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Nobody in the media talks about it. Nobody in the media talks about the fact that our debt was already doubled before coronavirus came along.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be approaching $1 trillion. We'll never pay it back. And this is the party that said that Labor was
good economic managers.
money. Nobody in media talks about that. So most people aren't aware of it, which is quite frustrating. This is my anger. Yeah. This is my anger with the media because as Friendly Doherty says, they'll argue over relatively trivial stuff. It may not be trivial to individuals, right? Yeah. The things argue about, but the big things that really do impact. And if you go, okay, so the ABC has a different view on Australia Day than Murdoch, right? And okay, I understand that's not trivial, but it is compared to who the government is.
The big one for me on that is still Alan Joyce. He was pushed forward as the face of the referendum, the face of the same-sex marriage because he's a gay bloke and blah, blah, blah. His attacks on the unions and his attacks on his workers, like with a high percentage of gay employees and a lot of other...
It's a stereotype, but it's probably true.
Yeah. That did way more to hurt people of his people than anything else that could have ever done.
Yeah, well, you see that sort of politics is a way to excuse a lot of things. Like in America, that black guy that actually was a Raytheon board member.
Yeah, he's
now
on
in charge of defence. Yeah, and everyone goes, "Oh, it's great. There's a black guy in the cabinet."
The
and you go,
cabinet.
"Well, no, but that's wait."
Hang on. Let's wind that back.
That's great, but there's other things at play here, and we can't just gloss over everything and say, "Yay!" Or Kamala Harris, the first non-white VP, and you go, "Well, that's great," but she has a history of some really awful shit. We can't be like just dismissing that. But yes, that gets into that because when you start that discussion, you will guaranteed get the very bad faith people who jump in and go, like effectively, I hate these people sort of thing. And it then your argument's sort of diluted by dickheads.
That's always the thing. Is like there's a conversation to be had about. They're pushing to send people over to work on the farms and stuff like that, and it's like I'm not against refugee policy, but I'm against sending people over to work for $2 an hour because farmers won't pay a real wage. And it's like, fuck the refugees. Well, hang on, that's not what I said.
Because
let's wind that back.
So all the farm stuff is that's an interesting argument because they've been saying we need immigrant labour because we don't want to pay them.
Don't want to pay the real rate.
And you go, hang on. Who's the racist here? You specifically want immigrant labour to not pay them. That seems sort of like oppressing to me. Is there a history of doing this sort of thing of importing people and not wanting to pay them? Those debates get lost because it's hard to explain to one side who is emotionally invested in seeing things improve for the right reasons, and it's hard to argue because the other side will jump in any excuse to go, see, I told you immigrants were bad, and so you can, and in fact, if anyone gets upset with me, that bit will be chopped like
chopped on that. We can.
So anyway, now we've got to an hour, we're at an hour. Wrap up. We got anything coming up soon?
We decided to take all of January off. I know we probably shouldn't have, but at the same time,
I kind of did as well.
So we'll be back hopefully Feb with some new content. We've got to figure out what's going on with TV now that we are actually allowed to go into the city and things like that.
Oh yeah.
So it's figuring it all out. As mentioned, there is no New Game Plus TV anymore as far as the TV show goes. Anything that does appear on C31 or C44 will be under a different guide.
Oh, so if it says New Game Plus TV, it's lying. And you should ring the station.
You should jump onto our YouTube and comment. This game doesn't even have a New Game Plus mode.
So wait. So Among Us style though. Straight out the airlock with that show.
So as it stands, thank you for watching. I think that's it for now. Back next week, I assume.
Yeah, well, back next week, as long as none of my children end up in hospital. So we'll see how it goes.
It's always risky.
That's what happened last week. But so let's thanks for listening and watching. We'll be back again. We're back on Real News now.
Yeah, and that means we go political, so sorry about that. Enjoy.
We can't help ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. All right, thank you all. We'll see you next time.